Hi everyone, my name is Rachel and I am the education. Hello everyone, my name is Rachel and I am the education assistant at Madison Audubon this summer. I'm excited to be a part of camp and to be joining you this week during Mammal Week. I know it's been kind of rainy and then now really hot and humid, and so I hope you have been able to get outside a little bit, maybe spend some time inside, all researching or enjoying nature. I will be asking some questions today. You can think of any of the answers in your head. You can talk to someone who is at home with you, or you can respond to anything in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and I will be checking those as I go. So, here's my first question for all of you. It's Mammal Week at summer camp. Have you seen any mammals this week? Or just this summer in general? So if you have a mammal sighting that you would like to share, please respond in the comments. I would love to hear about the mammals you've been seeing. I have a couple of reminders about summer camp. It is called Forces of Nature, and there are different weeks online with a lot of different activities that you can access. It's kind of a choose your own adventure. You can find resources online as well. Last week was birds, this week is mammals. All of those activities are up and ready for you to take a look. And I think I need to find my comments. I guess I will see. Alright, so those are our reminders about summer camp. This week there is a mammals tracks and scat identification sheet, and that might be helpful for you if you're trying to identify some of the mammals that you see. It looks like someone saw a huge groundhog in their yard. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. I think my favorite mammal sighting of the summer was a young muskrat. So I see a lot of muskrats around the pond, but I hadn't seen any young ones yet. And so I think I saw a pretty young muskrat at the pond, and that was exciting to see. Alright. Last week I was talking about flora and fauna, two different words. Flora, which means the plants of a particular region. So that's kind of what I touched on last week. This week we're jumping over to look at the fauna. Fauna means all the animals of a region. So we're gonna start by just looking into two different mammals in Wisconsin. And I know that there are pretty large mammals in Wisconsin, but today we are going to talk about maybe some more medium-sized mammals because I got really excited about them. So they're bigger than maybe the chipmunks, the squirrels, the rabbits you've been seeing outside, but they're not the biggest. But I find them to be pretty exciting. So here is a drum roll for our first mammal of Wisconsin we'll be learning about today. It is the badger. So I felt since we're in Wisconsin, we have to talk about the badger, especially since we're in Madison, and it is the mascot of the University of Wisconsin at Madison. So I do have to break the news that the mascot was not named after the mammal. There were lead mines in Wisconsin, and people who worked there had to dig tunnels and dig housing into the side of hills to survive the winter, and so people compared them to badgers. And so that is how the University of Wisconsin got its name, the Badgers, after those miners. But the actual mascot, Bucky Badger, is based off of the mammal. So there's Bucky for us today. Bucky is based on the American badger. And yes, I would like to respond to the comments. Ariana, it is totally great that you are here today. Anyone can be watching these videos, no matter if you have done anything else for camp or not. So, Bucky Badger is the American badger. And we are going to have a little mission today. Is Bucky Badger a true American badger, or is he an imposter? So I am going to provide you some evidence, and we are going to have to decide if Bucky Badger is a real badger or if he is just pretending. So let's start off here with Bucky himself. I'll give you a good peek. And here is our American badger. So let's start by comparing their appearances. I want you to focus in on their heads. I notice that Bucky Badger has the same head stripe as the American badger. So that part of their appearance does seem similar. Now, I do have a question for you. Why do you think the American badger has such a distinctive stripe or coloring on its face? Why do you think this is so distinct? What might be the reason for it having that really specific face coloring? So you can think about that. You can give me a response in the comments. I would love to hear your ideas. Alright, let's go back to their appearance because I have some more evidence to provide you. So, this Bucky seems to be wearing a t-shirt. Now, I don't see Bucky Badger, or I don't see the American badger wearing any clothes, so you're going to have to take that into consideration. The other thing is this badger is on its 4 limbs, whereas this badger seems to be walking on 2. So, we will have to think about that if Bucky is an imposter. Next, let's think about their habitat. Now, Bucky Badger, he likes to hang around sports arenas, maybe like Laban or Camp Randall or the Coal Center. But the American badger likes grasslands and open spaces. So I don't know if that quite matches up. I am going to hop on over to our comments. We have some ideas for the face striping on the badger. For defense or to scare away other animals, that is such a good idea because a lot of times animals do have specific colorings to scare other animals away. This badger, they do think, has this specific stripe on its face to warn predators that this furry animal is gonna bite back if they try and get it. So it's probably for some animals that might be thinking about eating other furry animals its size or a little bit smaller, and this is warning them off that this animal is going to fight back. So great thinking. Alright, we are going to move on to our last bit of evidence. Their diet. So I think Bucky Badger likes to eat popcorn and pizza and hot dogs, but the American badger likes to eat rodents, some mice, maybe some ground squirrels, prairie dogs. So, their diet to me seems to be a little bit different. But now it is up to you. Do you think that Bucky Badger is a true American badger, like those we have hiding around in Wisconsin? It is up to you. So you can vote in the comments. Let me know if you think Bucky Badger is a real American badger or if he is just pretending. While the votes are coming in, I'm going to move on to our next mammal. This is a very special mammal, one of a kind. The very own Virginia opossum. I had to choose this mammal because this is the only marsupial we have in Wisconsin. It's actually the only marsupial we have in the United States. All of the other mammals we have in Wisconsin are called eutherian mammals. So we're going to break that down. There are 3 different kinds of mammals. There are monotremes, marsupials, and eutherian mammals. Monotremes, those are the very distinct mammals that lay eggs. So that's the platypus and the echidna. Those are both in Australia. Then we have marsupials. We often think of those being in Australia as well, or at least in the southern hemisphere. Those are the animals that have pouches. And we have eutherian mammals. So in Wisconsin, most of our mammals are eutherian. That means that the young, or the babies, are nurtured inside of the mother's body, and they get all their nutrients and food and oxygen from their mother through the placenta. And then when they're born, they are born well developed. The only marsupial we have is the Virginia opossum, and it's born differently. So they are only inside their mom for a short period of time, and when they're born, they're super, super small. Then they have to crawl to their mother's pouch, and then inside the mom's pouch, which is outside of their body, it's kind of crazy, that's where they drink their mom's milk and they grow. And it's in the pouch where they'll grow until they are developed enough to live outside of the pouch. So yes, these marsupials are like kangaroos, wallabies, other animals that we oftentimes associate with Australia. Alright, the results are in. We have Bucky, might be an imposter, but he is very nice. I agree with that 100%. Alright, that was the vote for Bucky Badger, one of the mammals we have here in Wisconsin. And we are going to go back to our marsupial friend, so the Virginia opossum. Like I was saying, marsupials are animals with pouches. I'm pretty sure this one little baby is still inside the pouch, or just hanging out in the pouch. But I'm going to compare a baby opossum when it's born to a puppy. So, this is the picture of a baby opossum when it's born. It's the size of a dime. So that's teeny, teeny, tiny. When it's born, it's the size of a dime. I'm going to compare that to a puppy. So when a puppy, this is a puppy that's about the size of a hand when it's born. It also has all its limbs and its tail, and it's well developed when it's born. Whereas this opossum has a lot more growing it needs to do. But it's wild because this tiny little thing is able to crawl to the mom's pouch, and then that's where it continues to grow. This is my final question of the day. How many baby opossums do you think the mom can have inside its pouch at once and be able to feed them all? So once again, how many baby opossums do you think a mom can have inside her pouch and be able to feed them all? I'm going to give you a couple of interesting facts about opossums before we get back to the answer to that question. So opossums are nocturnal. That means they're active at night. They're opportunists, so they'll eat sort of whatever food they can find. That means they're omnivores, just like humans. They eat meat and they eat plants. They tend to like to live where humans are because we leave a lot of food scraps in our trash cans or other places. So they do tend to live in areas where there are humans. Opossums have hairless tails, and that helps them grip onto things. They also have opposable thumbs, just like us, on their back feet, their back legs, so they can grab onto things really well. So they're using that when they're climbing and they're holding onto branches. They do not hang upside down. That's kind of a myth that they use their tails to hang upside down. They are using it to grip, but they're not hanging from it. Opossums also have 50 teeth, so they have the most teeth out of any mammal, which I thought was pretty cool. And something else about possums is they have really tiny brains. So opossums are about the same size as raccoons, maybe a little smaller, but their brains are only 1/5 the size of a raccoon's. So they're relying a lot on instinct. They're not thinking a lot, which might be why opossums are associated with playing possum or playing dead. So when an opossum gets super scared, it freezes and it plays dead. And that's uncontrollable. It's not choosing to do that. It's just what happens when an opossum gets really scared. So you can think about that the next time if you ever see an opossum out at night or during the day and it freezes. It's doing that because it's super scared, and it thinks you might not come at it if you think that it's dead. One good thing about having opossums around is that they tend to eat rodents that carry diseases, and so they're helping keep us and other animals safe. That is the one and only incredible marsupial of Wisconsin. Alright, so we had our guess for the amount of young that a mother can have in its pouch and feed, 10. They can have 13! They can feed up to 13 babies at once. Now, I was trying to find if there's a word for that. It seems like you could make up tridecatuplets, but humans don't tend to have 13 babies at once. So there wasn't really a word for that. I kind of made it up, but I like it. Tridecatuplets. Those were my 2 mammals for today. I'm going to check the comments one more time. I see a question, do they eat chipmunks? I do believe they eat chipmunks. They tend to eat rodents. So any chipmunks, probably some squirrels that they can find. And if you have any other questions about the mammals I talked about any other mammals in Wisconsin, even the large mammals of Wisconsin, please send us a message on Facebook, or you can email Madison Audubon, and we would love to get back to you. And you can share any other fun mammal sightings that you have. I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your week, that you're able to enjoy nature even when it's super hot outside, and that you stay cool, stay hydrated. That's all from me today. Thanks for joining me. Bye.